Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. And it is Monday. Yes, a retired lounge lizard here. Dr. Marissa reporting live from my living room while we're in pandemic with a show about hope and happiness, because I want to fulfill my own Happy 88 mission, which is 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. But who's counting? We are doing quite well against that, by the way. Those of you who know, I have a #1 best-selling book called 8 Ways to Happiness from wherever you are. And hashtag BC19, the time before COVID-19, I was on tour. In the Philippines, I was on the #1 TV station with my speaking partner, Jessica Cox, and we were interviewed by Karen Davila on her show and got millions of views for that, and as well as a TV program in China called The Fragrance of the Feminine or something like that. The translation was not exactly perfect, but that was seen on Szechuan radio and television by millions. So I had to move my original 8 million goal up to 88 million because, yes, I'll probably die not fulfilling this goal, but it is my job. And why do I want people to be happier? Well, first of all, I love laughter. It's my favorite sound in the world. And I love world peace. And I love people feeling good. And I love me feeling good. So for all those reasons, I am on this mission, because also we'll never get to world peace if we don't have inner peace. And if you don't like yourself and you're not happy or you're not connected to your own happiness, which is your birthright, we're never going to get to a place of solution on the planet. We're not going to get to a place where the delight is at least 88% in everyone's life. So that's why I'm on this Happy 88 mission. I get to travel online. I'm surfing a lot on different programs, been on different podcasts, and continuing to splatter more hope and happiness over my audience as well. You know that I get to do some freelance news reporting as a beat reporter for my New York news agency. So I go and film areas that I think are newsworthy because they balance out the bad news with the good news. And today's no exception. I'm going to be showing you right now a clip that I took at Leimert Park in Los Angeles with two fabulous organizations that are doing good. And instead of what's wrong with people, it's what's right with people. And they are helping with some vaccination hesitancy in certain diverse groups, as I've been harping on. So enjoy.
Good afternoon. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live. You know me as the Asian Oprah, and you know that I love to bring you news that is really new and not old, and also what's good about people, what's good about the community, what's good going on around. I have two guys here who are going to tell you. Please introduce yourself and tell me what's been going on here in Leimert Park.
My name is Mario Chavez. I'm Director of Government Affairs with St. John's Wild Child and Family Center. And today we're here at Community Build in partnership with Brotherhood Crusade, One LA, and 21 different businesses from the neighborhood that all came together to offer vaccines to our community.
Beautiful. And you are?
My name is Kevin Sosa with Community Build. I do the grid prevention part of it, where I work with at-risk teens and their families. And we're actually hosting and help get the businesses locally to be a support of this program.
Beautiful. So why do we need support here? What is the situation that is in need of temporary improvement?
Well, I think right now, folks feel really good that the mask mandate was lifted at the statewide level. But I think there's also the Delta variant, which is a hyper aggressive version of the Alpha variant, which was the dominant COVID variant that we had here in LA County. So the reason we brought this resource to the community is to really educate the community around the dangers of the Delta variant. Just in the last month, we've seen infections go from 125 a day to 3,000 yesterday. So, the public health department, all of our elected officials and us as healthcare providers are very concerned about it. So we wanted to bring this resource to the community.
Beautiful. And vaccine hesitancy, a new term. There's, the majority of the people who really wanted the vaccine, they're all through, waited in line forever, got the vaccine. And now there's this population, especially among some diverse populations, who are suspicious and hesitant about getting the vaccine. Is that the case here? Is that why we're targeting?
That's exactly why we're here. Again, the African American community and the Latino community, again, are very hesitant to getting it, whether it's the conspiracy theory, whether they're not trusting the government, whether they've had a fallout in the past. We're here today just to bring that opportunity here, the resources here, so people can't say that it never came through the neighborhood. Whether you can get it or not, it's here. The word is out. We just want to make sure that it's available for our community.
So let's spend a California minute talking about the conspiracy theory, because I really want to hit it. And I'm, I say, let's talk about the moose on the table. That's my Canadian version of putting the elephant in the room. So tell me what is true and what is not true about the vaccines. Who wants to hit it?
Well, there are so many different conspiracy theories. The one of the microchips so the government could track you. We've heard men question whether it's safe or if they're going to have issues of fertility after, impotence. So,
that's a new one.
Yeah, no, we've heard that one a lot. So we're actually here just to give people information. Like Kevin said, provide the opportunity for folks to get vaccinated. We have providers here that are able to talk to folks. Like we've had three women that came in earlier that said, I don't know if I want to get vaccinated, but I have questions. So they spoke with the provider and two of them ended up getting vaccinated.
Right.
So really we're here to dispel a lot of the myths that are out there. We know that vaccines are safe. We know that vaccines are effective. And we know that right now, a majority of the people that are ending up in the hospital are unvaccinated people that are catching the Delta variant. 84% of cases right now here in LA County are Delta variant cases.
84%. Please listen. 84% unvaccinated are getting the Delta variant. And I have your word and the medical community, it will not affect the family jewels.
Correct. It will not affect the family jewels.
And as I actually had a doctor on my show who said, if you're worried about the microchip, if you have an iPhone or any kind of phone, it's already there. Don't worry about that. So what is your advice now to the community? Let's say you're in a family or in a community where you have a lot of, squeaky wheels saying, no, don't get it, don't get it. What do you say to them?
Come through and come get informed. Like Mario said, we have plenty of staff here that are very educated on this whole vaccine and the whole pandemic. Come and get your answers. Come get your answers. Yeah. Plain and simple. Yeah. Whether you come here, just check it out. And like Mario said earlier, today we had 3 people that had questions. 2 of them got them, the other one didn't. Right. And that's okay. But they left with some information. Maybe they'll go home and sleep on it. Maybe they'll find another site another day. But at the end of the day, just come by. If you have any questions, my thing is not to listen to people that are just talking. Come get some medical professional advice. And that's what we have here today.
Beautiful. And so this is still going on until what time?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. And this is at Lemert Park.
Yes.
And afterwards, let's say, because I'm going to be playing this on my show this week, how do people who want to support this effort get involved? How do they find out more information about where the next vaccine is? What address do they go to?
So for anybody that's interested in getting vaccinated, we have 18 brick and mortar clinics, St. John's does, where they can call our hotline. It's 877-612-8299 and schedule an appointment at the closest clinic to them. We're going to be back here on August 14th to administer the second dose. Obviously, we're trying to encourage those that have not gotten vaccinated. So anybody that comes through today or on the 14th to get vaccinated gets a $25 gift card. Gets today, I'm not sure if by August 14th we'll still have any left, but today anybody that gets their first dose also gets Six Flags Magic Mountain or Hurricane Harbor ticket. And there's also 5 $100 raffles that are going on. So today we've had about 42 people get vaccinated thus far. So out of those 42 people, 5 of them are going to win $100 gift cards. So we're really trying to, encourage people to get vaccinated. And really we're here to meet people where they're at, to answer any questions they have. We're not here to pass judgment on anybody. We're actually here to try to clarify any questions that anybody has.
Yeah, and this is about health. This is about responsibility. You may think or have belief systems that say, I don't need it, but it is also about keeping your loved ones safe. So at least think about that as a responsibility. You know where I stand on all of this. I've been asking people. It's kind of like having a private pee section in a public pool. You can't do that. Everybody's got to do this together. Yes? Thank you so much for your time. At the end of every of my interviews, I have this thing. The Mayor Garcetti just did this. So if you wouldn't mind copying what I do, it's peace in. Say peace in.
Peace in.
Peace out.
Peace out.
World peace.
World peace.
Through inner peace.
Through inner peace.
Dr. Marissa reporting live, reminding you, please, please, please get vaccinated so we can all come out of this healthy and happy.
Wasn't that great? I just love highlighting what is right with people. So if you're one of the people that are out there right now and you have nothing to do, or you're wondering what to do, here are 2 great organizations that I'm sure could use some help as well as donations, and go at it. Help everyone help themselves. And when we come back, I am going to be answering the question of the day, which is, Dear Dr. Marissa, I procrastinate and I know I shouldn't. How can I stop? And that was an actual question from someone who didn't want to come on camera or on the air. So I'll be answering that after the break. So stay tuned to Dr. Marissa reporting live from my living room on the station that leaves no listener behind. We're back. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and everywhere streaming on my YouTube channel, especially. For those of you who have not free subscribed yet, you can also get my interviews with Quincy Jones, Halle Berry, John Travolta on my red carpet playlist, as well as all 502 episodes of Take My Advice. I'm not using it, as well as just a ton of other fun things to stream and watch and listen to while you're doing your life, because I am trying to get you to drink my rose-colored Kool-Aid so you can feel better. And I have the question of the day today that I'm going to answer about procrastination. So here goes. Dear, I've always wanted to be a procrastinator and never got around to it. Ba-dum-ba. Sorry. And I'm so glad you asked that question, because procrastination is, in my experience, related to perfectionism. It's one of the diseases of life. And when you're a procrastinator, I would bet there's a very high likelihood that you're also a perfectionist, because perfectionists, if they can't get it perfect, they'll say, I'll do it later. And they'll do it later and do it later. And then procrastination, once it tips over to the next phase, becomes paralysis. So it's perfectionism, procrastination, and then paralysis. So how do you get out of that road downhill or uphill, so to speak? Well, the first thing you do is quit being so hard on yourself. Because if you're a perfectionist, you are hurting yourself, because no matter what you do, no matter how well you do it, it's never good enough. You will know a perfectionist if you go up to them and compliment them, and they'll say something like, well, it was a team effort, or, well, it was, it was okay. It was the best I could do under the circumstances. Or, well, it's about time. I've screwed it up so many times before. Or, well, it's too early to celebrate because it's not fully done yet. So those are some very common statements that come out of the mouths of perfectionists. And I know that because I'm a recovering one myself. And we're so hard on ourselves. We're so hard to please. And therefore, we are also very impatient with other people because it's hard for them to please us. And because we don't want to do it unless we get it perfect, we do have a tendency to procrastinate. And we'll leave things and leave things and leave things. And if you leave them long enough and there's 100 things on your plate and you've left all 100 of them, we get into the paralysis, which is the overwhelm. So how do you get out of the overwhelm? If you're at that point where you just don't want to face the day and you are in bed with the covers on and you think there's something wrong with you, so you've been taking stuff to try not to feel that there's something wrong with you, otherwise known as numbing out, then the first point of intersection is to start over. And I'm not talking about taking yourself out and starting over. I'm talking about knowing that every single day, in every single moment, you can start over. You can say, I'm starting over right now. So my kids were infamous on learning this when they were kids. And I loved it because if we had a huge, gigantic fight, or if something horrible happened, after we'd vented and gotten rid of the negative energy, we would say, let's start the day over. And that was usually the signal for everyone to sort of let go of the stuff that they've been hanging on to, and we could turn a corner. And so if you're in paralysis right now, and if you think nothing's ever going to get better, and you think that it's just useless and why bother, I want you to take a deep breath with me right now and release. Soft shoulders, soft elbows, soft knees. Another deep breath in. And releasing all the stories and the drama that tell you the lie that you're not good enough, that you're unworthy, that you'll never be good enough. That's all a lie. And lastly, take another deep breath. Connect with me with Chi, eternal energy, the breath of life that connects us all. Right now, we are all connected. We're connected through breath. And when I take a breath, nothing's taken from you. You also breathe that breath. They say that, that recycled breath can reach Brazil in a number of iterations. So we're in this together. We are all connected. And it's never going to get done. And you're never going to get it wrong. So whatever has happened in your life is how it has happened. And if you are just sitting in bed eating bonbons or ice cream and don't want to get out of bed, you can. You really can. You just do it. Gospel according to Nike. I'm not asking you to run a marathon right now or finish the goals or the strategic plan that you put together, but you can get up right now and go brush your teeth. You can come back and resist the urge to get back in bed and make your bed. You can go and make a cup of coffee, and you can sit down and take a bite of my gratitude sandwich, because wherever you are right now, you can find 8 specific things that you're grateful for. I promise you, you can. Even if it is, I have underwear on. I just had a cup of coffee. I have toothpaste to brush my teeth. I had a bed to sleep in. I had a bed and a room to hide out in for however long I've been hiding out. But all of those things I still have, and it is a good thing. And there are people who have a lot less than you. There are people who have nothing. You know, we still are. If I'm talking to you in Southern California, we live in one of the wealthiest places in the world. We still have so much. Yeah, you might not have the guy or the gal that you wanted, or you may not have the job that you wanted, or you may not have the piles of money or the fame and fortune. But look where they got Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain. So fame and fortune, you know, there's no guarantee. But if I can get you in this moment to just be and remind yourself of who you are. You are a precious child of a friendly universe. I had no idea that my Monday morning was going to start with this little pep talk, but obviously it's on the docket. So if you're not liking Mondays, if you don't want to get out of bed, if you don't want to face life after the pandemic, if you don't want to take a look at, just do it anyways. And remember the 8 specific gratitudes that you have this morning. And then tonight, I want you to finish the sandwich by 8 specific things that you like about yourself. You cannot be a procrastinator and in paralysis as a perfectionist if you can begin to validate yourself, begin to approve of yourself, begin to cut yourself some slack, begin to say, you know what? I may not get it all done, but I can get some of it done. And I want to actually get it done because it feels good. When I achieve something, it feels good. And I want to feel good. It's called esteem for esteemable acts, right? Or acting on your own behalf. You know, when sometimes you feel like crap, there might be a reason you feel like crap. If you keep making promises to yourself and you don't keep them, then you're going to feel like crap. But when you make a promise to yourself that I'm going to do a walk, and you go do a walk, you feel good. Or I'm going to try to eat less, whatever it is, and be more healthy, and you accomplish that, you feel good. When you don't do it, you don't feel good. Those are the right and normal ways to use your emotions. So that's it for the first half of the show today. We're going to come back with my interview with someone who you know. Her name is Ola Ray. You know her because she danced in the #1 music video on the planet, Thriller. Yes, she was Michael Jackson's dance partner. And we'll be right back with Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. Don't go away. And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. And here is my interview with Ola Ray, the dance partner for Michael Jackson. Enjoy.
A lot. So I want you to welcome someone that you will all know because she is the co-star with Michael Jackson on the #1 after 30, how many years?
35 years.
35 years of music videos. Her name is Ola Ray. She's got a fabulous past, lots of accomplishments that we're going to talk about in this interview. So without further ado, please welcome to my studio, Ms. Ola Ray. Absolutely. You are beautiful inside and out, and I'm really grateful that you're here to share for a listening audience that I'm sure is going to relate and also feel more comfortable in talking about their own sexual healing, their trauma, because that is the first step to healing, absolutely. But before we get into that, so you're like the most recognized dancer, singer, actress, probably everywhere because of Thriller. So let's talk about that first. How did you even get to that point?
Okay, I had an agent who told me that he wanted me to go out on this interview, and he wanted me to go see John Landis. So I went to John Landis' office, and I spoke with him about possibly becoming the girlfriend to shoot with Michael, and he told me he'll call me back in 2 weeks. And so after that, after 2 weeks' time, I heard from him, and he told me I had a job. But I believe he said he had saw the Playboy issue.
Ah, there we go. Yeah. Let's talk about the Playboy issue. Actually, let's go way back. You actually started in Japan, which I was really like, you'd never know. And you speak Japanese.
Nihongo skoshi desu. But yeah, I started my career at the age of 15 in Tokyo. I sang, danced, and modeled, did high fashion modeling there. And that's where my career began.
That's amazing. And then and it was actually with another family singing group, your own, right? Your
yes.
twin brothers.
Right.
And a sister. Are you the oldest or the youngest?
No, I'm the
middle?
sixth child, and it's 9 of us. I have 6 brothers and 3 sisters.
Wow.
So we have formed, not all of us,
right.
but just myself, my oldest sister, and a set of twin brothers and 2 GIs. We had formed a group, and it was called the Puppets.
Wow.
And so we toured all over Tokyo, all over Japan.
How
and
cool
we
is that?
really, became a
known
name in Japan.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then, so you auditioned, you came over to the States. How old were you when you came over?
I was 17.
How young?
Well, I started working at 15, and I was 17 by the time I came back to the United States.
Okay.
And so once we got back, I decided to move to L.A., and I went to college for a couple of years, and then I decided I wanted to get back into the industry. And it was so funny. My agent in Japan had told me, well, if you want to get back into the industry, you might want to do Playboy. And he said, because... Well, listen, he said because it's different over here. He said the high fashion models, they're all a certain height. And I was doing high fashion modeling, but I'm only 5'4" in Japan. So he said if you want to get back into the industry, you might want to just, go do Playboy. Okay. And so I was like thinking, I don't know if I want to do anything like that. So I went to college for a couple of years, and I studied theater, music, and ballet. And then after a while, I decided, I want to get back into the industry. And I had saw a picture of Marilyn Monroe on the front cover of Playboy magazine, and I looked into it, and I saw all the parties and all the entertainers that were at the Playboy Mansion. So I decided, okay, well, this might be something I can do.
Okay.
So I ended up walking up to the Playboy building on Sunset Boulevard and walked right in with my pictures in my hand, sat it down, and told them who I was and that I wanted to see if I can audition and become a centerfold for Playboy. And they called me like within the next week. And they said, well, yeah, come on in. And I went and shot some text pictures in Chicago. And then after that, I came back. Hefner had to review my pictures. And after that, he had me come to the house. We met. And after that, I became June Centerfold, 1980.
Wow. That's really interesting. I didn't even know that part until you sent me the pictures. So, and you think that helped land you the Landis job?
Of course. No,
yeah.
it definitely helped get me that job.
Okay.
Well, when I at first did Playboy, I had got an agent and was doing commercials. So I wasn't using, my
body,
my name.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, your name.
My name for commercials. I've done many commercials like milk
Coca-Cola,
BMI, and I went under the name Marie Ray.
Oh.
So yeah, I had to separate that.
Got it. So Ola was the Playboy name.
Right.
Got it. Okay, so then,
and it's my real name. Also.
It is your real name. All right. So your alter ego is actually the innocent one. Marie. Okay, so we have the real one that got the dance. And what was it like working with Michael?
Oh my God, it was so great. I mean, I just feel so grateful, and I'm so humbled by, having that experience and being able to work with the number one entertainer of all time, which is
Right.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
We had so much fun on the set.
Did you? How long did it take to shoot the whole thing?
It took us 2 weeks.
That's it?
Every morning till night.
Wow.
Late at night, like midnight.
Yeah.
We were together on the set.
Wow, that's great.
But just my part.
Right,
for
right.
for 2 weeks.
Right,
But I'm sure it
right.
took Michael a little longer.
Yeah. Was he like demanding
Oh, no,
or
he was so sweet. He wanted to tell jokes. He wanted to make me laugh. He wanted to make sure I was comfortable. And, we just joked around a lot and had a good time. We wanted to make sure and put out the best video that we could, because I really wanted to make him happy and proud. So we just focused a lot on doing the best that we could do.
Yeah. Did you stay in touch with him after?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
A
you
little
were
bit.
friends for a little bit
After.
Yeah. What and before I ask you the sad question, if you've just tuned in and you're wondering who I am talking to today, it is the very memorable Ola Ray, first on Playboy, and then, most importantly, on Thriller, where she was the co-star to Michael Jackson's Thriller video, and we just had a little fun posing on that one. And we're here talking about sexual healing because it is the last week of the month. So what was your reaction when you had heard what had happened? Like, were you surprised?
Regarding
Michael passing.
Oh, of course. I
Yeah.
was surprised. I was at home, and it was early morning, and I got a knock at the door, and someone was yelling from the other side, wanting me to open the door. And I'm like, who are you? And
Right.
And they're like, turn the TV on, and here's my card. And they slipped a card underneath the door, and it was a news crew. And so I went and I turned my television on, and then I saw what had happened, and I immediately went into shock. I was just like so devastated.
Yeah.
And I went to my door and opened my door, and by that time there was like a whole news crew sitting on top on my front lawn.
Right.
And I didn't want to go out and talk to them, but my mother, she told me, she's like, Ola, she said, these people are depending on you to go out and say something to help them. I said, I said, Mom, why me? And she's like, Ola, they need confirmation, and I guess they're coming to you to get it, to make sure that this is really happening or whatever, and you have to go out and give them some words of to help them go through the pain that they're all suffering. And I'm like, Mom, okay, I'll do it, but I didn't want to.
Right.
And I went out there and I addressed everyone and told them, yes, this is what really happened. And it was a very sad time.
Yeah. Did you know that he was suffering or had those,
No,
pain
he was
or
about to go out
on tour?
on tour. But later I come to find out that he had pneumonia. He was suffering that. And then, I had just been talking with my girlfriend the night before, and we were talking about Michael, and I don't know why I felt that he wasn't sleeping. He wasn't getting enough rest. And it's so weird that, that we were having this conversation because that's basically what happened to him, and one of the reasons why he passed is because he had to use this medicine to put him to sleep. So he could do what he had to do.
Yeah.
I talk about this a lot in the book.
So let's talk about your book, because the book is also going to introduce something that you haven't talked about that is the topic of actually today's show. So you have a book that you've laid out your relationship with him as well as some of the experiences you've had, and I want to be really sensitive to that, and I appreciate your courage in coming out and actually talking about it. You have experienced sexual trauma.
I have experienced sexual situations, for a long time. The first time I experienced in Hollywood, work-related, was I was 17 and I went out on an interview in Hollywood, and I was told that this was something I had to do. I was on an audition.
Right.
And I'm like, something is like, this is not right.
What was I had to do?
I'm not, I talk about it in my book. I don't
Okay.
want to really go into the details
Got it.
right now.
Yep.
But just to say that my first encounter was when my first interview in Hollywood. And I ran out of the room yelling and screaming and crying, running down Hollywood Boulevard. And so after that, I got an agent. And so I felt a little bit more safer and secure about going out on interviews.
Right.
And then I really didn't have any problems with working. I worked a lot. I was with Eddie Murphy with a couple of his movies that he had did.
Now, this was before
Beverly
the
Hills.
Thriller?
Yeah, all of
Oh,
this
was before. Got it.
And so I did all these commercials, and I did all this work, and I never had any problems.
Right.
And then after Thriller is when it all started for me. I was asked to go into a room where a really known director and producer to this day asked me to come in and simply just started telling me basically that since I've done Thriller that I'm on a different level now, and if I want to continue my career, that this is what he wanted me to do. And I'm discussing it in the book, what he wanted me to do. And then again, I ran out, screaming and yelling. But
now, I
felt like I was blacklisted for a long time.
Okay. Do you name the names in the book? No.
I don't have the courage yet.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So, because Me Too is a huge movement to encourage women
right to step out. And I want to congratulate these women. I want to say good for you, and it's really great that you're standing up for us, because it needed to be addressed. For me, as far back as I can remember, this is just how men are in Hollywood. So I started to think to myself, this is just how a man is.
Right.
And this is not right. It's not good to even think this way. But I discuss what has happened to me in my book, and I talk about the situations, but I do not devour their names. I do not tell their names because I don't have the energy or the strength or to do it yet, the courage.
Do you think they'd come after you?
I don't know, maybe because I talk about another situation in my book where there was a car bombing. So I don't know why there was a car bombing in my life. I don't know. So you never know. I know for sure that the names that I have, they're very well connected. They're very, very prominent in the industry.
And they have not been highlighted.
No,
they have not been.
Their names have not been out yet.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I am a little afraid. I just went through 35 years of dealing with the Thriller, trying to get my royalties and this and that, and nothing really has happened, and nothing really has come of it. And I'm just thinking, if I don't really. I'm just now getting back into the industry. I just moved back to LA, so I'm just now getting back to work, and I don't know if I want to risk having to tell these names right now.
So this is an interesting, moose on the table. For those of you who know, I'm from Canada, so it's my version of the elephant in the room, because of Me Too, I don't want to say accusation, but the suggestion that it is important to name names so that you protect others from having that same circumstance.
I feel that I know that I have a responsibility. I do. I'm just not ready yet. I don't feel like I have the people set in place in my life.
Yeah.
Like the law firms,
Right.
the security. I have to have things set in place. I have a daughter. I have two
Right.
grandchildren.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I just want to just talk about.
Right.
And say their names. I need to be in a situation where I know that I'm going to have a little bit more security in telling these names.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it is, it's one thing to throw people, under the bus who deserve to be thrown under the bus,
Right.
but the reality,
Of it.
some people. Okay, so this is exactly. I'm glad that came up this way. So some people are very critical, and many of them are men, and they have said to me, "Well, why now? Like, why didn't they say something when it happened? They should have said something a long time ago. This is too late, and now it's just a witch hunt or a warlock hunt, or whatever.
It's been happening the whole time.
Right. So what I think that people need to hear to balance that out is
They were all
this
afraid.
fear
Exactly.
is
It's real.
It's like, even now,
Because I always feel like I've been blacklisted, and so now I'm trying to get back to work. And these people that I have the names of, they're one of the biggest director and producers of a hit show on TV right now as we speak.
and you really believe that if you did say the names,
yes, then I will encounter all of these issues and problems that I don't want right now in my life.
Right.
And I don't have the backing or the necessary security or the things put in place for me to talk about it. But I do talk about it in my book. I talk about what has happened to me and how it happened, and maybe I've left a little clues in the book, so maybe they might be able to figure it out who I'm talking about. But as far as me just being able to say their names out and out, I'm not ready. I don't feel secure yet.
Yeah. And she is looking for a publisher. So if you're listening and you're a publisher, I'm going to introduce her to mine and several others. But I think the fit has to be the best fit, because it's not about scandal. It's not about sensationalism. It isn't about, the inside whatever on Michael or any of that.
And everything that goes with it, because
I
want to get back to work, and like I said, I already felt like I was blacklisted, because after Thriller is when
all this happened.
I even had one director come to my house, and I would walk home and walking through my door, and he would be sitting there with a basket of fruits and nuts, and I'm like trying to figure out, why is this man here at my house?
How did he get in?
I had a roommate at the time.
Oh.
So I went out on an interview for another film with this director, and afterwards he was standing outside the door, and I walked out and I said, "Well, what do you think? Do you think you're going to give me the part?" And he said, "Well, how did you do on your casting?" I said, "Well, I did, I thought I did pretty good." I said, "But we've worked together, and you already know how I work." And he started laughing at me with another director, and that's when it clicked in my head. I said, "Oh, now I put two and two together." I'm like, now I know why you were coming to my house with the basket of fruits and nuts. I didn't really think about it like that, but I did.
I really, really want to make a joke right now, but it's not the right time about the nuts. But so once you put those two and two together,
that's when I knew
that's what the expectation was. If you want the job, if you want the part,
I want to work with this person, period.
You eat
again. That
you eat the bananas and the nuts,
right?
So, how does a woman work in a business that is so disrespectful?
Well, first, I like to say that all men are not like that.
Okay.
And I like to believe that, there are a few good men out there. And in this industry, it's just so prevalent. But
Okay.
it was just really hard for me because I'm going to also admit something
Okay.
that has happened to me in my life that it's the first time that I've ever discussed it or talked about it, but it's also in my book. And after Thriller, because of the feeling of being blacklisted and because of me having to deal with all the sexual harassment that I was dealing with, I tried to commit suicide because I told myself, I said, I'm not going to sell my soul. I said, I'm not going to sell my soul, and then I'll rather just, go out. And so I did try, but through the grace of God, He saved me, and I'm still here alive to tell the story today. I mean, it was very stupid of me, but, I at that time, I was going through so much of the sexual harassment and so much of not getting paid for what, I had done, and I was, like, at a point in my life where I'm not going to sell my soul. And so if this doing something that I love doing means that I have to sell my soul, I'm going to just take myself out.
Well, I'm super glad you didn't.
Yeah, I'm really grateful that
Super
God
glad.
saved me.
Yeah.
First of all, through His grace, I'm still here to tell this story, and that's what I want a lot of people to know. That this book that I've written, it's called "The Thrill of It All." It's about my life story, and it's a journey, and it's something that I wanted to share with everyone because I want everyone to know everything that I've gone through, and the fact that I came out of it, and even the drugs, everything that I've gone through, God gave me the strength to pull through, and I just want to be able to encourage and give strength to anyone else out there that might be going through the same thing that I'm going through, or maybe not knowing how to handle a certain situation that they're in. Because I talk about how, you know what, you could handle it like this, or I knew the next time to handle it like that. So if anything, it's just, a book that's going to uplift and hopefully give some people strength.
Absolutely.
And a little eye opener as to what really goes on here in Hollywood.
Yeah. And so I don't want to know the answer to this, but I do want to know the answer to this. Is it still happening even after this whole, awakening awareness and in the public's eye? Please tell me that has made a difference. Has the Me Too movement stopped?
Well, I will say this: a man will be a man.
Not all men, though.
Not all men. Not all men, but a man will be a man. So for me personally, no one has came up to me and gave me an ultimatum as to, okay, either you do this or you're not going to get this job because I'm just not getting back. But is it still here? I would think so, and I don't think it will ever leave. It's just,
I'm not going to be that.
I mean, that's just my point of view. I mean,
Yeah. I hope you're wrong. I mean,
at least
but some of the reactions
started a revolution, and right now we're talking about it. Yeah, and I think that they will think twice before doing something like this. But there's some men out there, and some in certain situations, and with the level that they are on in this business, they'll feel like they are entitled to sexually harass women, to just do this to us. Yeah, I mean, I've dealt with this almost all my life. I never really thought. I always just thought that this was just men.
The way it was, right?
And it's sad,
right? It is sad.
Well, I really hope you enjoyed that interview. If you would like to hear the rest of it, please go to free subscribe on my YouTube channel that houses all of my shows. 502 now, I believe. I've had over 230,000 views. Grateful to you all. There's lots of good stuff on there, but you can find that interview in its totality there. That's it for today's show. Join me tomorrow morning on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. And remember, it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Have the best day ever.